Hello. In the last video, we learned about and or, and how to use these funny symbols, two ampersands to mean and two vertical bars to mean or, in our program so that we could write things like, let's take a look at the program we wrote before. We wrote that the left and right are different colors when the left of the robot is dark and the right is not, or the left is not dark and the right is. So that's how we use and ors. And to summarize, and means that both of the two conditions are true, then we get back true. Or we'll test if at least one condition is true, we'll get back true. And we'll find that we use and or quite a bit in our programs as we get to fancier and fancier programs. And I want to go back to the original problem of actually swapping the pattern of colors on the left with the pattern of colors on the right. And not exactly sure how we're going to write this. Let's see what we've got so far. So going back to way back to the beginning, we wrote this method, swap all, that would swap the colors in one row, move to the next, swap the colors, move to the next, all the way until it got to the last row, which it would swap the colors in and stop. And I don't think that's going to change. But then we wanted to clean up swap row. And we said, if the left and right are different colors, we would like to swap them. So we wrote, if the left and right are different colors, I believe we wrote a method called left and right are different. That was what we just finished. So finishing this up, we just need to be able to swap the colors. So maybe we'll write a method called swap left and right in this file. I'm not sure I love this idea, because it occurs to me we could actually just test if the left is light and the right is dark, might result in running different code than if the right is... Well, let's just carry on with this and see what happens. So swap left and right. And so here, let's write this method. Public static. Now this one's void, right? It's not returning an answer. It has a side effect of actually swapping the left and right. And I think the before condition is critical here. What do I know must be true if I'm calling this method? Well, I know the left and right are different, but I don't know which one's light and which one's dark. But I know one of them's light and one of them's dark. So we need to find out which it is. So we'll say if the left is dark. And you may be thinking to yourself, didn't we already check if the left is dark? Isn't there a more efficient, cleaner way of doing this? And I think you could argue it either way. But I started down this pathway, so we're going to continue this. Swap the left and the right, so we'll test if the left is dark, which, yes, at one point in the past we already knew if the left was dark. In fact, we're testing the left is dark multiple times here, and that takes time. And we tested right is dark multiple times, so there must be a better way. And we're gradually working our way toward better ways. But let's finish out this problem here using Boolean conditions that we've written. Swap the left and the right. Well, if the left is dark, then now I think we're going to have to do the ugly thing of, well, the left is dark, so we'll slide to the left. So that's like this situation here. Slide over to the left, make that cell light, slide over to the right, and I guess we need to slide 2 cells to the right and make that cell dark. And I know it was light before because I know the two of them were different and the left was dark. And then I need to slide back to the center because... Why do I need to slide back to the center? Because I should leave robot in original state, but swapped colors. I know that's not correct English, but it's good enough for me. Okay, otherwise... Now, I guess if I'm really clever, I could make a method out of this and then turn around and call it. Well, that's kind of clever, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think at this point I'd like to see all of this work. So we're just going to copy and paste and modify it for this. So what do I know here? Here I knew the left was dark. So I know that left is dark, right is light in that first scenario. In the second scenario, I know that the left is light, so the right must be dark, because I know the two sides are different, because that's my before condition. Left and right are different. And sure enough, I am testing to make sure that's true in my other code. So let's see. That means if I slide if I slide to the left, I'm going to need to make it dark. And then when I slide back to the right, I'm going to need to make that cell light. Okay, let's see if all of that mess works. So I believe I can test the whole thing with test swap all 1. There we go. Notice how much slower it is than our original program. It's doing a lot more thinking because we've broken it down in a way that makes it easy for us to understand our program, but kind of a nuisance for the computer to execute because it involves going back and forth maybe more than necessary, but that's not bothering me. Looks like it's working to me. Let's try my other world. Make sure we didn't do anything that's specific to that particular setup. So we're going to try it on this one. Okay, that's good that nothing swapped down here. This dark should move to the left. And it does. This dark should move to the left. And it does. This dark should move right. And it does. So we're swapping okay. Now we're going to have to wait a very long time of nothing. And then this dark should swap from the left to the right. And then we'll feel pretty good that we've written this method and got it working. Yay! I think at this point we've largely, hopefully we're starting to feel comfortable with these Boolean expressions and declaring our own, writing our own Boolean conditions by writing methods that return Boolean values, and using that to make our program easier to understand. But I know this is one of those concepts that takes a lot of practice before we really feel comfortable with it. I think there's just one more subtle aspect of ands and ors I would like to look at that maybe we'll look at in a future video, maybe even the next video. But otherwise, I think we've conquered this. So let's give ourselves a pat on the back and feel good about Booleans. I'll see you in another video.